Okay, so I did it. I am officially a licensed registered nurse, and I am so proud of myself. This journey has been extremely stressful, but also extremely gratifying. Now that I passed my NCLEX, it's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I'm not as stressed, I'm not as worried, not as anxious. And now that I have the opportunity to look forward and, finally have a career that can put my dreams at the forefront and, get me stable, not only in life and finances, but with helping people. That's something I've strived for a long time, even when it's not in the medical field. But now that the obstacle is done, every day just seems a little bit brighter. I took my NCLEX on August 30th of this year. I did the quick results, but before we get into that, let's start from when I first started taking the NCLEX. I graduated from nursing school last year, June. So I've taken the NCLEX a total of 4 times. I'm a repeat test taker, and do not let that discourage you. In life, every failure that you make pushes you a little closer to your goal. I took my first NCLEX exam right after graduation. Once all of my forms were sent to the state and I got approved, I took the NCLEX. I was under the impression that, I just finished school, everything is still fresh. Take the NCLEX, you're gonna do great. I did well in school. And all of my teachers were suggesting, take the NCLEX as soon as possible, do not wait, so everything is still fresh in your mind. Also because this year they did update the NCLEX exam to the next generation format. So we were taught for the old NCLEX, so I was like, let me hurry up and take this before it changes, and then I'll be back at square one. So I was one of the first ones in my class to take the exam. The exam, it finished early. I think at 75 questions. Yeah, so I was like, I must have done great. 75 questions. It didn't seem that difficult. And I thought I did great. The results came and I did not pass it. I was devastated because, my classmates were already asking me for so much advice. How was it? What do you think we can use to study? Was it easy? Was it hard? And so I was very disappointed and kind of felt embarrassed because, I already told all my friends, yeah, I passed it. This is going to be great. New beginnings. And then I got my results and it was the other way around. And then slowly but surely, one of your friends passes the test and someone else from your class passes it. And I kind of found myself being left behind. Nursing school is no joke, and we all grew a tight bond trying to make it through together. And then I kind of felt like, I was left in the dust. Some of my friends taking it their first time and passing it, I was like, what the heck was going on? And they're saying some of the topics that they found on their exam, and it seemed like easy peasy stuff like gout, or one of them mostly had crutches, questions about crutches and walkers and stuff like that. So I was like, I didn't get none of that. Shoot, why I didn't get your test? But everything happens for a reason. since I did take it so early, there was still plenty of time to take it again. I suggest that if any of you have just finished nursing school, give yourself time to reflect on what you've learned, review your topics. I do not suggest you take the NCLEX right after you graduate from nursing school. Take some time, study, rest, relax, make sure you know all of your topics, do your practice problems, whatever you need to do to succeed. Don't rush into it. Everyone gets the same amount of time when they take the NCLEX. Just prepare and don't underestimate the exam. I think I underestimated it a lot the first time, and it was hard. This last time around, I knew my material like the back of my hand, but the exam was still a hard exam. A lot of the new things as they added for the next generation did help me during the exam, but we'll get into the final exam. So after that, I studied some more. One of my classmates, she had passed. Congratulations to her. And she still had some time on her UWorld. So she let me use her UWorld account, and I was studying from there. I was just doing practice problems, practice questions, reading questions, and doing the rationales, testing myself with questions, reading the rationales. I went to take my exam. I thought I was more prepared this time, and again, I was not able to pass this exam. It finished early again at about 75 questions, and when I got my results, everything that I did, all the categories that I did well on my second go around were the categories that I did not do well on the former exam. So it's like I swapped everything that I did decent or above passing standard on test A, I did at or below the standard on test B, and vice versa. I was extremely frustrated, not only because you make so much plans about where you're gonna be in the future, or what you're gonna do with this, or when you get this job, but when it comes to NCLEX, you really have to put a lot into it. And I can honestly say that I was not putting as much effort as I was now in those first two times. You know, you get to this point and you're just like, I'm not gonna take any more L's, you know? You really gotta put yourself in the mindset to push through. But I didn't pass. And when I went on my state's BON to check my results, when I saw that it said fail, my heart sunk again, because at that point, for me, I did not know. Now I could see it, but I did not see what I was doing wrong. You know, you do 1,000 practice problems, 1,000 plus 2,000, and you think, oh yeah, I did all these questions. I went over all the topics that they can ask me questions about. I got it. You know, you study your rationales. You know why you got something wrong. But again, you cannot keep doing questions and expect to pass, because those questions that you see, they may be similar, but those are not the same questions that NCLEX is going to ask you. So second time was a no-go. Third time around, I buckled down and I said, third time is a charm. You got this. Go ahead and get it. I was on YouTube reviewing. I extended, actually, my friend let me use her Archer. And I was using that, going through questions. I've watched all of the lecture videos. Their lecture videos are long. It is very heavily content based. It felt like I was back in school, so I would pause a lot of the time, try and give myself breaks, but this is very tiring getting through them. But I reviewed all of the videos, did my practice problems. I went and used Mark Klemick. He used to write for the NCLEX, and he does amazing NCLEX reviews. He provides you with the information that you need or that they will cover on the exam. He gives you very good tips and hints and mnemonics for you to remember to make NCLEX a little bit easier on you. But you have to know your material. Mark Klemick is great. He has a little blue book. You can review some of his videos on YouTube. That's what I used. And I do believe Mark Klemick is really good. I went in, took my exam, reviewed all my flashcards, all my questions. I'm like, oh, I'm studying with Mark Klemick. Yes. He knows what he's talking about. So now I know what I'm talking about. A couple of the topics that I did review in the Mark Klemick reviews, I did find on the exam. This time around, I got all of the questions. I thought it was going to stop early, but it was very, very exhausting because I used all of the time. I believe on the old NCLEX, it was, you get like 5 hours max. Once 85 came, I'm like, okay, gets to 86, 87, 88, and the tests just keep going. So now I suggest that do not expect to finish your NCLEX in the minimum allotted time. If you watch the videos on how NCLEX is scored, then you can better understand that you probably will get a lot of the questions for the computer to dictate if you are a competent nurse. Everyone starts at the equal line. You can either go above the passing line or below the passing line. So you can get 2 questions correct in a row and then be above the passing line, but then let's say you get the next 3 incorrect. That's 1, 2, you're back at the starting line. Now 3, you're below it. So that's what you have to worry about on the previous NCLEX. I mean, you still have to worry about how they grade it, but on the NGN you do get partial credit, which is, in my opinion, very, very good, especially when it comes to SATA questions, select all that apply. Speaking of select all that apply, on this third exam, I got a total of 64 select all that apply questions. I was devastated. Every time I got a SATA question, I would put a little tally on my paper. They say once you start getting harder questions, that means you're doing very well. You're doing good, and select all that apply do count as harder questions. So when it comes to that, you think you're doing good, but that is just too many. And if you, let's say you get 1 wrong on the select all that apply, 1 option, it could be 2 options and you pick 3, boom, you're below the line, or you get it wrong, and now your scoring is just decreasing. So yes, I got so many select all that applied. I was ready to rip my hair out and cry. I took all of the breaks. I believe it's 3. I was there for the entire time it took me to complete the exam. As the exam went and went and went, I was like, 125, 135. I was like, okay, this is not so much a bad thing, because I believe that it's trying to give me more questions to know if I am deemed a competent nurse. So I felt like I was borderline, and the computer was trying to figure out, like, they wanted to be sure. I left that exam, even though I got all the questions, I believe that I had passed. I reviewed, I studied, I went in confident. And again, it just was not the time. I was unable to pass the exam, and now it's about a year, because you have to you have to wait 45 days in between to retake the exam. Then you need them to process everything, select the date. So months had went by, and I still was unable to pass the finish line. So I didn't know what to do. I was very chagrined, like, not mopey, but I was sad. But I kept pushing, and I said, this is going to be the 4th and final time that I take this exam. I went to Phil's Family Dollar, and I've become friends with one of the co-workers. He's very nice. Shout out to Renee. Renee, she was studying to be a LPN, I believe. Yes. And she has a beautiful daughter, and she's working hard, but she still finds time to study. And whenever we run into each other, we're pushing each other. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, did you pick the date for your exam? What are you using to study? Chatting it up. And she knew that I've been down about this exam. I'm really trying to pass it. And then she told me that she started using a study program called REMAR Nursing. I do like REMAR. REMAR is the last piece of study material that I used, and I passed my exam, and I do believe it's because of Nurse Regina and Mark, the founders of REMAR Nursing, that made any of this possible. Renee told me that they were having a sale, and for their NGN study program, and that I believe it was $89. You get the quick facts book, the workbook, access to all of their videos, question bank, and all of that. So I said, okay, nice and cheap, let's do it. But before that, I did register for a review course that was about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 classes a day. I felt like I was back in school. It was with Atlantis University, and I do suggest them as well. I used them first. We went over topics, but with Atlantis, they really teach you how to not only review the topics, but how to answer NCLEX questions and go about figuring out the correct answer to the problems that they ask you. So I did that first. I finished the class, and I did feel like I was back in school. I was absorbing the information, but I feel like, you just sit in front of the computer, you listen to the teacher, sure, you participate, but I wasn't getting everything that I needed to get. After that, transitioned to REMAR Nursing. I want to give back a big shout out to Nurse Regina, because the way that Remar Nurse is set up is very simple and easy to use. The videos are to the point, and Nurse Regina really makes you feel like you can do anything. With Nurse Regina, a good attitude and prayer, NCLEX was, I'm not gonna say a piece of cake, but I was sure that I was going to pass this time, and I did. So, to prepare for this last go around on the NCLEX, I did a couple things. First, I made these. It's a personal fill in the blank questions. It goes over their mnemonics for me to memorize things like CBC, and then I put all of these blank grids so that I can fill them out by memory. Electrolytes, coagulation panel, renal, liver function, and metabolics. So that's what I would do to first start, you know, because you need to know your lab values. If you don't know your lab values, you will not pass the NCLEX. If you don't know your lab values, you will cause harm to your patients, because these are things just like blood pressure, respiration rate, that you need to have embedded in your mind. So I didn't really memorize them the first 2 times. The third time I had them down packed because I had these fill in the blanks, but we'll get into that. I suggest, if you want, you can make yourself one, and make little mnemonics to memorize these. We'll go over these in another video. I'll make a video on answering questions and, you know, getting through the actual NCLEX exam. For the $89, I got the virtual trainer. It's a workbook. Fill in the blank. You go over the videos. Nurse Regina asks you questions. You fill them out, and you study. When it comes to this, the virtual trainer, Nurse Regina provides you with a 4-week study session. It gives you all the topics that you need to do, and the exams that you need to take provided by Remar, so you can get ready to take your NCLEX in 4 weeks. I gave myself 6 weeks. I picked my day and I said, Edwin, you have to focus, buckle down, and study like your life depends on it, because it does. The life that I want for myself is an arm's reach away, and I cannot just stand around and wait for somebody to push me to reach it. You know, you have to push yourself. So it's 5 study sessions a week. Every time that I finish a study session, every time I finish my homework, I put a check on it. Red check, so you know that it's done. I finished it in 4 weeks, but some days, you know, everyone has life to take care of. You have to go to work, you have to take care of your kids, whatever the case may be. So I did not follow my outline to the T, but I finished it in 4 weeks. So if I would see like there's short videos, let's say I did Monday, I did the first study session, Tuesday I did the second study session, maybe I came home on Wednesday and I was tired, I went to sleep, or I started a video and didn't finish. Thursday I would just do Thursday's lesson and Wednesday's lesson. When you're going over the lessons, every couple of lessons they will have progress exams. You cannot watch the next video if you do not pass the progress exam. That's another good thing. So if you need to stop, take a break, study and refresh your mind, take the progress exam the next day, see if you can remember what you learned, take it, and pass. Once you pass, it does provide you with the rationales. If you do not pass, it will not provide you with the rationales on the questions. So you won't know what you got right, what you got wrong. Review the information, take the exam again, and you'll do great. These are all practice for you to take the NCLEX, because when you take NCLEX, they don't give you rationales. You take it, you move to the next question, and you wish for the best. You focus. I needed a push when it came to my study sessions. So for me, whenever I would do my study sessions, I stapled them all by session. The first one starts with pregnancy. I would put the reason that I'm trying to do my best to pass this NCLEX. This one was for my mom. This one was for Michelle. She is a patron of the gym that I used to work at, and she would always push me to be my best, and she's always wanting me to succeed. She was like a second mom to me, and I'm really grateful for her. This next one, basic care and comfort, for my best friend Joanna. And as I do this, I find myself actually, getting through the lessons, and then I'm like wondering, oh, who am I gonna do it for tomorrow? Don't forget to do it for yourself. My name is on one of these study sessions, but your family and friends support you. They go out and you have to study. They come home and you're looking like a zombie because you've been studying all day. They have your back, and I believe that with a good support system, you'll be able to pass the NCLEX. This one was for my dad. This one for my brother. This one for one of my best friends, We all want a nice career, and we want to be able to help our family and take care of those that we love. And sometimes you need to remind yourself, you're not doing this alone. So that's what pushed me and kept me going during this long track, this grueling track to pass the NCLEX. So once I filled out my workbook, this is the holy grail. This came with the order. This is the quick facts for NCLEX. This is the next generation version. This has everything, every topic that comes to nursing for the NCLEX. I put these paper clips, so I cut them into sections so I can read, a few a day, so I don't overwhelm myself. When it comes to the quick facts, there's a quick facts study calendar. I did not follow this calendar because sometimes I have to stop and take in the information, so I can't just keep reading and keep reading and keep reading and keep reading because I'm not absorbing anything. But this is the planner page. Basically, it has you write things on how you're gonna pass the NCLEX. I will pass NCLEX by doing these 4 things. Why I need to pass. If you don't know what you're doing it for, then why are you even doing it? Here goes the discount that I told you about for $89. This was an $89 well spent. This is the first page, ABO blood groups. You see, I didn't highlight anything because when it comes to ABO, I pretty much got that down packed. Here, page 40. Hyperbilirubinemia. So I highlighted some things, like the first one, what is considered an elevated serum bilirubin level. If I haven't committed that to memory, I highlight it. I think that's important to know. The second one, what will a newborn's skin look like? The condition presents with excessive bilirubin in the bloodstream, dark colored urine, pale clay colored stool can also be present if the liver is the source of the issue. So stuff like that probably like I need to really embed in my mind. Has a bunch of mnemonics to go over. This book has everything. This is the holy grail of nursing, and I do not regret this book. If you need help studying, you can just buy this book by itself, but I do suggest you get the whole set because it is great. Reading my book. Crunch time is coming, so I said I wrote out a guide for myself, some words of affirmation. It says, final week, Edwin, you can, you will, you must pass NCLEX. So 8:23, I went to the live review. Nurse Regina does host live reviews on Mondays and Wednesdays. Quick facts, pages 1 to 20. The final exam that she offers on the Remar Nurse 1 and 2. Do the Q Bank 100 questions and review my labs. While we're on the topic of labs, a good way that I use to memorize and make sure that I know everything, when I'm going through my quick facts book, if I'm reading and I see a reference to a lab value that I need to know, I'll repeat it in my head and make sure that I know it. For example, for Crohn's disease, it says, excessive diarrhea will cause which electrolyte imbalance? Hypokalemia. I know that. Calcium, the mnemonic that I used is calcium. A milk jug is about 8.5 pounds, and you want to get 2% milk. So 8.5, add 2 on that, it's about 8.5 to 10.5. So I would review that in my head to make sure, okay, when it comes to K, here are my levels. Hypokalemia is going to be less than 8.5. That's how that's another source of review that I used in conjunction with my NCLEX Quick Facts book. After I finished the questions in all of the workbook, that's all I did. After I passed the final exam 1 and 2, I did not review any more questions from the Q Bank. After that, what I did, Nurse Regina is offering a 30-day review on Remar, and basically this review, what it does, it goes over the topics that you learned in your workbook, and she asks you a couple of questions. So what I would do, I would go in, review my workbook topics, then I would answer those questions. Those were all of the questions that I did because I already did questions on Archer. I already did questions on UWorld. There's emphasis when it says content over questions, because once you know the content, they can ask you anything in the book and you will get it right because you already know about the disease, you know the disease process, you know the lab values. Once you know the content, the questions come easy. I got all 100 and it's 150, I believe. 150 questions. I knew the content though. So after that, that was it. The day before I went to take my exam, they said do not study the day before the exam. So after stressing, that night I went out to a ramen place, had my show set up. I was watching some anime, eating some ramen, enjoying the atmosphere. Food was great. I went to sleep. By 12 o'clock, I was in the bed. I wanted to have a good night's sleep. My exam the next day was at 1 o'clock. So I gave myself more than enough time to get rest. The day of the exam, I woke up, showered. I brought my note cards with me, but I didn't use them. I was like, oh, just in case, but you already know all the information. There's no just in case. You have to believe in yourself. I went to Starbucks that morning, got me some breakfast, watched some more of my show. I got to the exam about 30 minutes early. I was one of the first ones there. I checked in and everything. I suggest that you do bring a snack. Bring some water too. There's usually water provided, but bring yourself a snack. I went to sit to take my exam, and I took every break that was offered me. Now with the NGN, they have multiple different types of questions. I got 7 case studies, 6 or 7, I believe it was 7. 7 case studies, 1 highlight, and 1 bubble. I think that's what it's called. You pick a disease process in the middle, what are the expected findings, and how you'll take care of it. I believe that's how it's set up. Once question 85 came, 86 came, then 87 came, and I was stressing because I'm like, Edwin, you know all of the material, you're ready for this test, so why is this test not stopping? Why is it not thinking you're a competent nurse? But I kept going, took it in stride. I was there for the entire time. I think it's 4 hours and 30 minutes now, or 5 hours, I don't remember, but one of the first ones to go there, I was the last one to leave, but I've always been a slow test taker. Every time I took a break, checked out, drank some water, used the bathroom. Even if I didn't have to, I used the bathroom. And I prayed. I prayed like it was the last day on earth, and I needed to get my way up to heaven, because I was not going to leave this testing site without passing the exam. But I got to question, I think it's 180, I don't know, the max question. And when it finally popped across my screen, I legit had about 8 minutes left on this exam. For a second, I didn't think I was gonna finish in time, but I did. It had me do the survey, and I checked out. After I finished the exam, I was so anxious, because after giving me all of those questions, and it was asking me about topics that I was like, hold up, I knew it, but I was like, do I know it for real? Lots of Julian Barr, and I had a good amount of topics on my myasthenia gravis. Do not underestimate the NCLEX. But after that, my best friend picked me up. We spent some time together. We went out to eat, talked, headed it up, had a good time. I waited for the quick results. It takes 2 days to get the quick results. 2 days passed. All day I'm waiting for this quick results. I'm checking for the quick results. All results unavailable. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm waiting. And then I finally see that my results are up. I had went to work and everything, so it was around 5:30. I told myself I wasn't going to do the Pearson trick, but I did do the Pearson trick because I was like, oh, I don't want to pay these $7, and then it's not the news that I hope. So I did the Pearson view trick, and I got the good pop-up. Every time I did the Pearson view trick before, I did not get the good pop-up. So I said, this is it. So I went, I paid these $7 for the results, and the rest was history. It does feel really good. Really, really good. I am so proud that I have made it this far. When I went to school show my mom, when I told my mom my results, she was on the phone, Her door was open. I had my computer in this hand, and she's looking at me. And I was like, and then we was just jumping and laughing for like 2 minutes. My grandma was on the line. My mom said, "I'll call you back." She thought she hung up, but no, the phone was still on. So we're over here jumping, hooting and hollering. My grandma's on the phone like, Carm, what's wrong? What's wrong? But nothing was wrong. These were screams of joy. Oh, I'm so much more relaxed. I was a little shocked when I got the results. I was sure of myself when I went in, but the exam is a beast. But y'all could slay that beast, because it doesn't matter if it took you 1 time, 13 times, you can do it. I'm now looking for work. I will hopefully be working at my first choice in hospital, but I'm not gonna be too picky, because we're here to save lives and help people, and you can do that at any hospital, any facility. It feels real good to be able to say that I am a licensed, registered nurse. Believe in yourself. The NCLEX is just another test, and we've been doing tests our whole lives. It's a different type of test, and you need to understand what you're getting into, and you need to understand the material that you need to know to get it done, but you can get it done. Manifest. I was already telling everyone that I'm a nurse. It's Nurse Edwin. You're talking to a future nurse, because I knew I was going to pass. That's the road that I set up for myself. With the help of Nurse Regina and Remar, I was able to, and God, I was able to reach this goal. It's nothing but up now. I'll be making a video. It'll be a quick video giving some question answering tips. I think we can all use that. But we did it. If I could do it, you guys can do it too. Believe in yourself. Believe in God or whoever you pray to, that you can do it. I did it. Plenty of nurses before you did it. Thank you. Bye.